And then in that one text interaction, you can talk back and forth to this customer, and you're not having to go into any third-party program. I think they do have a mobile app now, but it's super easy to use for smaller teams. For us, we use call action for our ISAs. Our agents don't have any automated messaging built into their stuff because they just call action. If you've ever logged in, you do need probably a bachelor's degree at least to understand how to set it up. However, it's super powerful. All of our ISAs live in there as admins, and so they can see every other ISA's leads. And the benefit of this, we have coverage from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., I think, actually. And so we never have a time where somebody texts back that they don't get a response within 2 minutes. And so if you guys have a bigger team, if you have even one ISA or two ISAs or a VA that can monitor this, super great way to go, call action. Again, you may have to hire somebody. It's maybe the most complex thing on earth to set up. Email platforms. We pioneered ActivePipe a little bit in the FUB world. It didn't work out for us perfectly just because of all of our other sequences we have going on. But ActivePipe is they make really sexy looking emails. And in there, they have great call to actions that will sync back and give you upsizers, downsizers. They have forms built into their emails that people fill out. And so if you don't have anything you're using for marketing aside from your drip campaigns that you have built-in action plans, super great option to look at. They will build out journeys for you. And again, the emails look really great and you don't have to do any work. MailChimp, way different case. You've got to do all the work. You're going to set up all of these things, all your cadences. You're going to spend a ton of time building things out. But great option if you've got the time, if you've got the staff. Postcards, AM cards, super easy. You just put them in Follow Up Boss, turn on the embedded app, you can start sending postcards. You can do this off tags, so you can do this off of internal automations inside of Follow Up Boss. Client Giant will send gifts, and then we just started with Star Loop the other day. They plant a tree every time you get a review. So every time we close a client out in our transaction management system, it goes through, sends them a review request, and so that's what we're using for that. So you guys can scan this. This is going to take you into the automation that we're about to dig through. And you guys are in for a bit of a treat, because if I knew the amount of time I was going to spend on this, I never would have done this. So I was like, oh, this would be super easy. Let's see. Go back. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going to go back, I promise. I got to mute this though. Somehow. Oh, jeez. I promise you I can code, I just can't figure out this computer screen if you're doing that. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Okay, so if you're not signed up on Make.com and you guys have automations, sign up on Make.com. They have built-in modules for Follow Up Boss. And what I'm going to show you here, I would say if you can do it in FUB, do it in FUB as far as automations. The reason that I am sharing this and going to give you guys the look into this is because if you're trying to drive 20 or 30 different journeys and 20 different drip campaigns, you could get into the realm of like 150 zaps, which isn't really a scalable option. So what happens here in this scenario, which again, these scenarios will be shared. I've got a document, albeit it's not the sexiest website, because I built it today while sitting with Jake back there. Because again, this took way more time than I initially planned. So what we're going to do on the beginning of this, basically the scenarios here are kicked off by whatever you choose. So this one here is when a new lead comes into Follow Up Boss, it's going to hit this scenario and it's going to start. This iterator you don't need to really pay attention to. It's just basically saying if you get more than one lead at a time, it'll do this for all of them. You're going to get the full info of the lead back. And then here's where kind of the magic happens. And this is just a very sample scenario, because whatever you guys want to do, you can do here in this chain, right? So this example, I'm basically going to send a lead into call action and assign it to a source based on, or assign it to a campaign based on what source it is in Follow Up Boss. And then we send everything to Slack. If you're not using Slack notifications, or if you're just kind of waiting for agents to claim things, and you have an ISA or an admin staff that wants to be notified about things, Slack's a super great option. It's free. I have, well, don't look at my unread text messages, but my unread Slack messages is probably worse. Only 64 today. So yeah, if you guys aren't using that, we'll show you how to do both of these things here today. So essentially, if you were to do this in Zapier, you would have to basically fire off of a tag or something, and then create a different campaign per thing. So what we've done here, if you have call action, again, this is my example. You can do this in Agent Legend as well. But what this is doing is essentially we're sending information over from Make.com to Zapier, because call action only interacts with Zapier. And I have a video on this, which is part of the creation, so you guys don't have to pay attention to all of this. But essentially, in here, if you've ever done anything with call action, you would normally choose like what campaign you want from a list, right? And so what we're doing is we're actually sending over the campaign name from the Make.com scenario, so that we can actually send this through and use one Zap and one scenario to power 800 lead sources, or however many you have. So going back over here, the magic all happens in this get source config thing, which again, have documentation. You guys can watch a video, read all of this. But essentially, you would put in what your sources are, what campaign you want to use in call action, what phone number you want it to come from in call action, or anything you want here. So such as where you want it to go, what Slack channel do you want this lead to go into. And so when a lead source comes in of this particular type, which we'll run the test here. Essentially, this is going to give you back all of the information for your test lead source. So say you wanted to put a specific campaign if it came in from Realtor.com emails or whatever. So you just name it the same as it is in Follow Up Boss, and you now get whatever you want back. And so what we're doing here is just simply sending this information that we've automatically gotten from Follow Up Boss. It's already been put into that configuration. And so this one scenario, if you have, again, 800 lead sources, all you have to do is add that information in here for each lead source. So we would just come in and say that we want, Zillow Flex. We want it to go to our Zillow Flex buyer campaign. And whatever call action phone number you want it to come from, it's got to be formatted. Again, all of this is in the tutorial video. And then we want it to go to, let's say, the same Slack channel. So, boom, save that. Again, this is all going to take time. You've got to write out all your campaigns. You've got to build these things in call action. You've got to build the campaigns in MailChimp or wherever you're doing it. But then once you're done, you can come in here and do all of this. So this way, if Zillow Flex came in, it's going to run through the scenario. It's going to send it to call action and then send it to our Slack channel. So let's say you wanted to add in, if it's a seller, you want to FedEx your listing presentation. You've got some company that does that for you. You can add that in here. There's tons of options. Another one would be if you, who in here does a bunch of Facebook ads? They write their own Facebook ads. Everyone. Every single person in here. You can also use Whitley for this, for some of this as well. But you can also put in here, let's say you wanted to create a custom Facebook audience for different lead sources. So you wanted all your Zillow Flex people to go into a Zillow Flex audience. You can use this to do that, same thing. And so this is super powerful where you only have to have one scenario to do a lot of different things. So going back to the presentation, you guys can scan this here. Play from current slide. Oh, yeah, perfect. We have presented view now. Everybody good? Perfect. So we've defined these journeys. We've tried to keep our brand equity via the messaging. So again, the power of all of this is that when you have all of these different journeys laid out, you've got your mortgage leads, you've got all these different things, you can create the messaging and make sure you attach them to the correct drip campaign, to the correct action plan, to the correct call action, whatever you're using. We planned them out, we created the content, and we built the automation. Well now, what happens after you've spoken with this lead? Because this is all brand new leads, right? So now we've talked to this person and they decided that they are going to buy in the next 3 months. So at the Ashton Group, we only send out leads that are going to buy in the next 3 months, because I don't know if you guys have figured out, but agents don't nurture things very well. And so we've accounted for that, and we give them the ability to essentially do a couple things here, which I'll show you in a second. So you hand out this lead, our ISA department hands out the lead, and all of a sudden their time frame changes. Nobody's ever changed their time frame, but just in case they did, we account for that. And so what happens in our system when somebody decides that they are no longer going to buy or they have another agent? What would your agents do? Change the stage, right? So what my philosophy is, I'm not going to waste my agents' time. Agents want leads that are ready to buy. I want to give agents leads that are ready to buy, because that's what ultimately closes deals. They're not going to nurture them long term. And I live on this lead opportunity client pipeline. So what I would just determine this as, if you guys were at the Kyle Whissel speech, or if you were in San Diego last year at the first FUB event, Kyle Whissel spoke on this. He used more colorful language, I think, but basically, don't make your agents do things they don't want to do. So lead in this lead opportunity client for me is anything before it should go to an agent. This is brand new people, folks that said they want to buy in 9 months, people that said they didn't want to buy ever, but they're still viewing on our website. All these things that are creating priority alerts, all this different stuff, is leads until we hand them to an agent, and then it becomes an opportunity. This is where our agent has the need to nurture these people. If they're going to buy in the next 3 months, 6 months, they'll keep them in their pipeline, and then they ultimately turn them into a client. And so this brings us to the second automation that I'm going to show you guys that is maybe the more powerful one than the first one. Are your stages good for long-term marketing and relationships? Do your agents, can they change this to something that they actually know what it means? Do you just have warm, cold, hot? What do those mean? What's cold mean? I think I've seen in some CRMs, they've got cold and then they put like in parentheses like 14 words to determine what that is. So whatever it is, if you have these explained out really well, then you can really power your future marketing. And so make updates if your agents don't have a good way to segment people out, and then keep them simple. So what we'll do is jump into the stage change automation. So we do this in 2 different ways. This is somewhat similar, but much more powerful. So I'm going to get this back to where I was at the other day. So what we do is when a stage is changed inside a Follow Up Boss, let's say it's assigned to an agent and it changes to 9 months plus or no longer moving. Is that a lead my agent's going to follow up with? Probably not. It'd also be great if you could see the screen. Perfect. Beautiful. Less beautiful. So what we're doing here is when an agent changes something to, let's say, under contract, not with our company, I'm not going to keep that in the agent's account because all that's going to do is just muddy up their smart list. And so what happens is every time a stage is changed, it goes to a different scenario, so a different campaign. So this here would say, if this changed to, I'll show you my real one actually. This one's not as pretty, but There you go. This is the power of make. You can make really pretty pictures that are confusing. But here what happens is if this stage is changed to under contract, not with Tereg, and the person that changed it is an agent, then we're going to assign this to a call action campaign that we have designed around people that have agents. So it doesn't follow up immediately. Obviously, we're contacting them in 3 or 6 months to check out, hey, are you guys still in the market? Did you purchase? If we go into renter only, then it's going to go into a renter thing, and this is going to change the stage and follow, or this is going to change the action plan and follow-up boss. It's going to change what they're getting in our Facebook custom audiences. This is going to change what they're getting inside of call action. It does a ton of things. And so this brings me, I think Steven, I can't remember, I think it's Steven from Street Text actually stopped me out before I jumped up here and asked me, he said that he's seeing at his company even getting agents. They deliver certain ads to agents, top of funnel, people they just reached out to. As soon as they set an appointment for their company to talk, then their clients in Salesforce or whatever change the stage. And then they're delivering different ads. And same thing, and they keep going down the funnel. And he said they've seen a skyrocket in conversion for people signing up for their company. And it's no different in real estate, right? We need to be marketing directly to the people in the place that they're at. And so if you guys are not doing stage-based change marketing, you guys really, really need to consider it. Because if you're sending the same thing to everybody, then you're really not sending anything to anyone. This is actually how we do this. So I don't know if your agents have ever trashed a lead when it was actually good. So we actually make sure that prior to sending this to whatever campaign, whether they have an agent or whatever, this basically is going to send, when a stage is changed to something that we determined is not great, or the appointment shouldn't have been set, etc., it's actually going to move it to a review pond. And so that pond is where our admins sit, and they look at every lead that is changed into one of these rejected stages and determine, should this actually have been rejected? This is one of our biggest coaching points, because we can now talk to an agent and say, hey, I think if you would have had this conversation a little bit differently, then you may have actually had the ability to convert this person. Or, hey, it looks like in here that you actually attempted to not have the appointment. I don't know if your agents have ever went on an appointment or gotten a lead and then tried to talk the person out of an appointment because they wanted to vet them and really see if they wanted it. But that's exactly what we're catching in this automation. So this goes to our one pond that our admins sit in. We get 20 or 30 of these a week that we review. It's nothing crazy. And it gives you a really good insight on what's actually happening. Where are people putting these leads and why? And these are your biggest coaching points, because most people are not, if you're making them clear out their smart list, then they're either going to this review pond or they're following up. So this is also, that same automation is also available in that same place. Thank you, Ricardo and Stacy and Dan and everybody, for allowing me to take some time up here. Hopefully you guys got something that you guys can take back. This, again, there's tutorials on how to use all that stuff. If you have questions, Wade is going to answer those for me. So yeah, just reach out to Wade. No, if you guys have anything, reach out. It's been great. Thanks so much.
Testing? Oh, that was awesome. Why do some people get all the brains? I mean, seriously. Every time that there's a very complex scenario, I know that there's about 5 people that I mention because they are worlds beyond my knowledge. So he is one of them. So how many of you in here were going, I really want to do that, but I don't know